Hi there, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me today for a new episode of the A Bit From Within podcast. I'm Felicia, the host here, and I'm a photographer in the Denver area. I'm also a gentle yoga teacher and meditation teacher, and I specialize in encouraging others to take better care of themselves and hopefully inspiring you to know what's happening in your heart and to honor what that is. For me, it is something that I'm always working on. And I know that by sharing some of the stories of how that's working in my life, that hopefully it can connect to you, help you know that you're not alone, and maybe give you the courage to face whatever it is in front of you. So that is what I'm doing here each week with my podcast. And I just want to say thank you again for tuning in and for sharing it. If it connects with you, that you post about it online or just share it with a good friend, that helps so much with the growth and support of my dream here of focusing on more of this. So before we dive into all of the things that I am excited to share with you and chat about today, I thought I'd take a quick moment to just remind everybody that we have a new moon in Scorpio coming up. That will arrive in the sky on Thursday for many of us. And what a beautiful time for a new moon, right? It's so interesting because last year on Halloween, there was a full moon. Full moons are a little bit more times of letting go, of beginning to reflect, or tons of energy is kind of being shown on something. It's more of a culmination. And with new moons, there's I always think of it as a blank canvas. There's time for seeds of creativity, for setting intentions, for really beginning to examine new dreams. And there can be some reflection in there as well. But it's the start of a new lunar cycle. And so to be kind of in contrast to last year, like being right in the middle of this lunar cycle when the veil is the thinnest, this, our connection between this world and the other world is this time of year and All Saints Day and everything. But now it's kind of like we experience this right at the tail end of one lunar cycle. And here we are getting ready to go through this brand new lunar cycle with the new moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is a very interesting part of our zodiac. It has a lot of ties to the 8th house, this place of mystery and power and transformation, and sometimes the darker, more taboo subjects like death and sex and power and desire and that sort of thing. In fact, Scorpio's kind of phrase that's often associated with it is "I desire." And I think this is going to be a very important time for so many of us. It's a time that can be kind of complex too, right? It's like we're not dealing with kind of as basic stuff anymore, like I am and I have and those kind of things. Like we are really into like the more complex parts of thought and being, and all of that is kind of displayed in the zodiac. So anyway, all of that is just to say that here we go, Thursday, new moon in Scorpio. Now, one thing I kind of want to pause for just a moment is to reflect back that 2021 has really been a year of transformation for so many of us. And I think that transformation is really starting to kind of culminate as we move towards the end of this year. And it's kind of like, for a lot of us, there's this energy of like, all right, are you doing it? Did you show up? Have you learned your lessons? Are you making changes? Are you being accountable for like what you're supposed to be doing? And this Scorpio new moon is going to help us do that. And so one of the things you can be expecting right now are a lot of like change kind of energy, change and transformation energy. And we'll be feeling that for quite a bit because we're getting ready in this lunar cycle in 2 weeks to actually have a lunar eclipse during the full moon. And this is the first time in about, I think, like a year and a half-ish that we are having the eclipses in a new axis. So for the past year and a half or so when we've had eclipse, we've been dealing with this Gemini Sagittarius energy. And now it is moving into Taurus Scorpio for the next like year and a half-ish. So lots of new energy happening, and we're moving from what was mutable energy with the Sagittarius and Gemini axis into fixed energy. And with fixed energy, there can be a lot of resistance. There can be a lot of kind of like clinging and holding on and wanting things to be a certain way. And that is what we're going to be having to deal with. And the best way when you're holding on to something is to have to let it go. And so it's going to be interesting. I would say that one of the best things you can do right now is really begin to journal about what is on your heart, what is on your mind, what themes are happening in your life, and just notice this. And if you are not the kind of person that has the bandwidth to do this every lunar cycle, then, maybe just do it when I remind you that we're in this eclipse time. So it'll be like right now, and then it'll happen again in like May-ish of next year, and then also the end of next year as well. Or if you really want to, but you forget, sign up for my Patreon, because I each month do a new moon guide and a full moon guide, and that will kind of help you keep plugged in. And I'm hopefully going to be having some more ideas for this kind of self-work with the lunar cycles soon. So anyway, all of that is just to say change is in the air. So right now, at the beginning of this new moon, allow yourself to really notice what you feel fixed on. Notice where your heart is. Scorpio is a water sign, and even though it is known for many things, it is also very emotional. Water signs are emotional. So notice where your feelings are big. Notice what matters. Notice what you want to hold on to. And also consider what could be there for you if you were able to let go. And that might be a really hard thing. That might be a long, ongoing conversation, and that's okay too. So that is our astro check-in for the month. You guys know I love astrology and love the way that it kind of inspires new thoughts and new ways to kind of do self-care and kind of track yourself in your life right now. Let's take a quick break, and then I will share some of what's been going on for me lately. So here we are. New month. It's November. We have 2 months left of this year of 2021. Oh my gosh. And I have one wedding left in this 2021 season, which means that we have almost gotten there. It feels absolutely crazy to say that, because it feels literally like yesterday that I was sharing. It was the end of August, and I was just sharing like the next 2 months are about to be the busiest that I've ever been through. And I honestly felt so much terror this year. I don't think I even put that word to it at the time, but looking back, I can see it so clearly that like the amount of sheer workload that had to be kind of figured out and taken on felt so huge. It was the hugest and most it was a lot. And I am so proud. Again, I've said this as we've been getting through it, but I can say this fully now. Like, I am so proud of my team and those people who work with me, who help me get through it. We honestly have the best clients. Like, we attended so many of the best weddings. We've seen some of the most beautiful love stories. I am literally dying to see all of the videos that Dave has shot, because they're just going to be tremendous. They're going to be so gorgeous. So I'm so proud of the work that has been done this year. But just from a sheer like logistical side, it was too much for a small business to take on. And I'm proud of myself that we did it. We learned a lot of lessons. In fact, as I'm recording this, I'm about like 2 hours away from our end of year team meeting where we get to talk about the wins and the losses and the learns and the opportunities. And it's going to be incredible to be able to have that conversation with awesome people. And I'm glad I get to have it. I think it's such an important part of running a business specifically, but also any time of your life, is like having the courage to really reflect and be like, what works, what doesn't work. It's so important. I'm a huge believer in that. But of course, me as my own self and as a business owner and as Felicia the human, I have been, over the last 2 weeks since the weddings kind of started to wrap up, I have kind of been sitting here kind of realizing the impact of it all. And you guys know this if you've been listening recently, because I've been talking a lot about the effects of the stress that the stress has had on me, and not just of the work, but with some of the personal stuff I've been going through too. But I feel like you don't have any of that clarity while you're going through it, like the how it really impacted you, until you start to step away from it. And last week, I felt like I got into like a really big funk last week. It was just, everything was feeling so overwhelming, and so big. And maybe actually a better word is I felt stuck. Like I kept thinking about like, I don't want to do this like this anymore, but I also feel like I've explored every way I can to make life easier for myself and like make changes. And I feel like I'm out of those options. You know, this is how I was feeling last week. And so, by a very strange situation that ended up getting me this opportunity, I ended up in the office of this massage therapist, and I was so excited. I had this huge kink in the back of my like right shoulder blade that was just pulling at my neck on both sides, and had been getting honestly worse for about like 8 days there. So excited to go see this massage therapist. And I walk into her office and we start with some small talk, and then literally like it felt like a snap, like, and I like 30, 40 minutes in, I have no idea how long, but we hadn't started on the table. Like we were talking and I found myself like crying and pouring my heart out to this woman who is not just a massage therapist. She's absolutely like an intuitive healer. And it felt like things that had been stuck in my throat and my heart and my mind and my stuff, like literally just things that had been stuck inside of me started to get shaken loose. And I had revelations that I had never been able to put words to before, and realizations about the future. And especially around like what needs to start changing, because I literally cannot keep doing this. And it's kind of funny because I had literally said to Dave like 5 days before this appointment that I was like, I just feel like I'm on the track that if I don't figure out like how to slow down or how to cut back, that I'm going to end up really sick, and I'm going to end up regretting that this was my moment to change things, for myself. And I'm really afraid that I'm not going to be able to do that, because I didn't know how. I felt kind of trapped by my life. And during the course of, this appointment where I'm crying and I'm releasing and I'm realizing and I was kind of having some sort of awakening. And ultimately, like, what happened is that the places that I felt really, really stuck in started to feel like I had options again. And I started to see a way forward. And I'm feeling so grateful for that now because I left that appointment feeling a million times lighter than I have in a long time, feeling like there's possibilities for me, and also for the first time in a long time actually feeling strong, like feeling like a strong goddess who is in charge of their own life. And I don't know about you, but feeling that deep down in your bones is so freaking important. Like, each of us deserves that feeling of, like, I'm strong. I get to make decisions. Things that aren't working for me, I get to change them. I am not a prisoner of my life. Like, I am a powerful woman or person who gets to be in charge and who gets to change their mind. And like, I honestly, that kind of blew my mind in that moment because, like I said, it's been a long time since I've actually felt that way. And now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot now that I feel like I have to figure out. But I was able to make, over the past 5 days, a very big business decision for myself that is definitely going to change the long-term course of my business. And like, I don't want to be kind of coy and like, I wish I could just say, this is what I decided. But I also know that as a business owner, you have to be cautious of how you share things and market things and roll things out. And so I am going to hold back those details during this episode because even though I'm coming to you as a business owner, I'm also, the main point of this podcast is me, Felicia the human, sharing what's happening in my heart. And what's happening in my heart is that I am allowed to change. I'm allowed to change. And I am so excited that for the first time in probably 5 years, I'm giving myself permission to change in a way that benefits my soul. And, like, nothing bad is about to happen, right? Like, nobody's going to be hurt. Some tough conversations had to happen in order to do this, because that's what happens when you have to be courageous and make changes. You have to sometimes have tough conversations because when things are kind of just chugging along in your life, there are people in your, circle that benefit from that. And so when you make those changes, like, sometimes people don't get benefited anymore, and that sucks. That's hard to have those conversations, but it is worth it. And I'm feeling that right now, as I'm just feeling like a lot of relief coming in. I'm feeling a lot of possibility. In fact, on, what day was it? I think it was Saturday. Yes, it was on Saturday. I was going to do a bunch of mini sessions with some of my favorite families, and I was on my way to the spot, which is like about like a 50-minute drive from my house. And well, the course over this summer, I lost, or like, one of our car chargers broke. And so I had been like moving one car charger like back and forth between the two cars, and then ultimately like got so busy that I just ended up somehow in my car without the car charger. And so I didn't want to use my phone to listen to podcasts while I was driving, because earlier in the week when I had been doing that, I ran out of battery and then didn't have any phone, which always makes me scared when driving, just in case there is an emergency. So as I was on my way to the session, I was sitting in the silence, and I remembered how important silence is for me and how I need to be doing that more often. In fact, it would probably be a good idea for me to always force myself to not listen to books or podcasts in the car, because I need space to think. If you need that reminder, I guess you can turn me off right now and give yourself space to think. But if you want to wait until after this episode, that's fine too. But I was sitting in the silence driving, and I just started thinking like, gosh, if I had more time, like I could do this, or if I give myself this decision, then I could work on this project, or I could try this. And like, I was thinking of so many things, and every single thing I thought of like made me feel lighter, made me feel happier, made me feel like this spark of joy. And it's really hard to admit that the contrast of the life that I've been living while I know I have nothing to complain about. I love my clients. I love the Patreon. I love the people who work for me. I am nothing but grateful for the people that I have been connected with and what I've been doing. But I would be lying if I said that it has been bringing me so much joy. It hasn't. It has been a little bit tough for me. And I am tired. I am tired, and the introvert in me, it has really taken a huge toll on me and my heart. Just the amount of weddings and conversations and consultations and the past couple of years has just really taken a big toll on me. And I didn't realize it, and I didn't give myself permission to realize it because I felt that the only way forward was to keep going until this moment where I was reminded that I have the power to change. I can change my mind. I can change my business, and I can do it for myself. Now, the very practical part of me, I'm a very practical woman, and I am also very loyal. So of course I'm going to continue doing the right thing. I've got plenty of jobs that are booked out for over the next year or so. And all of that's perfect because basically 2022 gets to be my year of transition into the next phase. And that is why I can't share any of the details, is because I don't have all of those answers yet. I don't know what I'm going to spend the majority of my time doing. I don't know the percentages of ratio of how much photography, what kinds of photography. I'm not sure, but I have permission to explore that. And I am so happy that I have given myself that. I'm so happy that I realized that. And it literally makes me want to jump up and down for myself and for you, and just to remind you that you have permission to change. That in those places that you feel stuck, or you feel weak, or you feel like you're trapped, you have permission to make changes. And if you don't know what those changes are, ask the universe for a sign. Ask God, ask your spirit guides, to show you the path forward. Because tell you what, a week and a half ago, I didn't know the way forward. And I don't even know how it all worked out, but I'm just so glad that I was presented with that fork in the road that gave me a different path forward. I really, really needed it. And I'm feeling so much better now. Yeah, there's a nice deep sigh out of the mouth. I don't feel 100% back to myself. It's going to take some time. But I'm so excited for the possibilities of this journey. And I'm honestly feeling so excited for this new moon coming up, because like I said, change is in the air. And if you have been wanting to change your life, maybe this is that time. You'll know. You will know. You don't have to change just because some girl on a podcast is feeling high off of the changes she's making in her own life, right? But I just want to be that source that reminds you that you're never stuck. You're powerful. You get to make changes. You get to be present. You get to make those decisions for yourself. And, at the very end of my conversation, she said to me, You deserve to be happy. And that hit me really hard because I do deserve to be happy. And it hit me hard because I don't know how to say this in a way that like is not super cheesy, but my name, Felicia, it means happiness. And I just realized I'm like, if it's really wrong. It feels really wrong for me to not be happy because it's like against my spirit, right? So I was so grateful when I came home to Dave that night that it was like he had already been like downloaded from the universe, like all of the changes that I had like gone through. And like, he was just so open to everything. He was so supportive and just like, yeah, we're going to figure out whatever we need to do because you do deserve to be happy. And like, I want you to be happy. And, you know, one of the things that we realized is like what we originally is set out to and intended to do isn't working how we thought, whether it is my ideas of what I needed to happen or his ideas and how we both were trying to compromise for each other, and just me kind of, again, denying like what really feels good for me and for my vision just to accommodate everything else. And so that took a moment to kind of be like, whoa, this is going to be some big change. But ultimately we were both just like, yes. And last week I got this this new card deck. It's ancient runes for modern day life. And I actually left it in the other room, and I'm gonna just take that as a note to just I'll bring it in maybe next week and we can do a card drawing from it. But I had done a card drawing earlier today before I had to make a big phone call that kind of solidified these changes that I know, the parts that I do know. And I got this card that basically was talking about endings and beginnings and how each beginning can only come from an end. And I thought, oh, this is so beautiful because this is, right now I can kind of point to this time as the beginning of an ending, but also the beginning of something brand new. And I'm just feeling cozy in that. I'm feeling comfortable in that space. I'm feeling grateful to be in that space. So, yeah, I guess that's it for today. I feel like there is always more to share. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming soon, because if I actually am able to slow down the way that I need to, then so much of my bandwidth that has been this year spent in other places now gets to be directed to the places that I'm curious, the place that I'm wanting to give, the place that I'm inspired. And that's here, really. Like, that's a bit from within. And I have to go in, with no expectations on what that means. But I just want to share with all of you how much this project means to me, and how much being able to inspire better self-care for others in this world, it means to me. So I feel like some cool stuff could be down the line. Okay, well then let's do a card drawing. It just won't be from that deck I was telling you about. I've still got this Affirmators, Love, and Relationships deck that I had retired for most of the summer and now have been back into for the past couple weeks. So I'm going to shuffle these cards. One's going to pop out, and that's going to be the card that helps us kind of close today's episode. Support. I look at the vast network of support in my life, and I'm reminded of what a superpower it gives me. At any moment, I can call on an army of top-notch people who want the best for me, which means I'm basically invincible. Take that, loneliness. Run for the hills, boredom. I'm sorry, what did you say to me? Pervasive, all-consuming anxiety? Damn right you didn't. I like that one because I can honestly say that part of what I was feeling quite a bit when I was feeling so stuck was a lack of support. And that's nobody's fault, right? Like, it's not my own. It's nothing. It's just that it's like what I was carrying, nobody could help me with. And it was like, as soon as that things flipped and I could see things differently, suddenly I felt not only support from those around me, but I also felt this new ability to support myself, right? It was like all of those things things I was afraid of that I felt like I couldn't change. Suddenly, just having those ahas, those revelations, like gave me a renewed sense of inner support. So I don't know. I don't know what that looks like for you or totally how that fits into all of this, but I love that word support. And, it never hurts to give your support to somebody as well. So if you're in a position where you're feeling really good and things are working out really well, just maybe keep that in mind. Is like, how can you give yourself in terms of support in the causes that you love, to the people that you love, to the businesses that you love? Because being part of that support system also feels really good, right? All right, you guys, we will leave it there for today. Please visit abitfromwithin.com. Check out all of my offerings there. Share the episodes that you love with your loved ones. And stay tuned. You can always follow me at abitfromwithin on Instagram as well. I don't post all the time. I post when I feel like I have something to share. But hopefully new updates and stuff can also be shared there too. So until next time, thanks so much.